Did you get eyes on this game or?
Absolutely. Would
All right.
never have missed it.
All right. So I don't know. What do you have? What's your takeaways from that?
Well, it really didn't go how I thought it would. That's the takeaway. It's nice to be pleasantly surprised with an NFL game. I thought the Jets defense, which was supposed to be one of the best units in all of football, couldn't stop the run, and I didn't guess that was going to happen because the San Fran ran all over them. Even without McCaffrey, that backup looked incredible. That's one of the significant takeaways from the game, is that running back is great, and so that opens up all kinds of possibilities for them going forward. They don't have to lean on McCaffrey as much. They could even split carries. Like, that's going to be a big deal. There's a lot of takeaways from this game. I'll say one more, then I'll throw it over to you. It was the Rodgers looked good. Like the ball coming out when he was throwing it looked good, and I just wasn't sure how that was going to look after a year of not playing. And even though it was an Achilles injury, he's still 40, and you still won't be able to throw as well as you could when you're 30. But that looked like to be not a problem. And so that's even though the Jets lost, that should be a positive thing going forward.
Yeah, agreed. I heard somebody give a pretty good take on Rodgers, saying he's going to be able to throw it like that forever. It's not really the arm strength that'll ever change. It's his mobility that's changing. And they did bring up a point that he just looked slower and not as elusive as Rodgers usually is. Like, one of his things in his heyday was he could buy so much time, and not Lamar Jackson run away from you type, but really good at buying time either in the pocket or behind the line of scrimmage, just really elusive, could always find more space. And he seemed to be more stationary in the pocket, a la late era Tom Brady, or even a little bit, dare I say, what Kirk Cousins looked like. But kind of, that's it. He's in a phone booth. He's got about 5 feet any direction, and that's all he's got. Rodgers had a little bit of that look today. I don't know if the pass rush was moving so quickly that he didn't feel like he could extend any play, so he either just got rid of the ball he got rid of the ball so fast it sort of didn't seem to matter. Yeah. But this game didn't display whether or not he actually still has that true mobility or not. I think it was just get the ball out as fast as possible. But there is a concern that that's kind of where he's at. Because you mentioned on our review show that somebody, I guess they had an accelerometer on Cousins, and they could tell he's actually moving slower than pre-injury. So potentially Rodgers, and it only takes a step, right? It only takes a step slower for none of that escapability to be there anymore, because it's always within inches of getting sacked anyways in the NFL. So I wonder if he's aware that he's less mobile, and now it's the ball either has to come out or he's just going to go down.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it was a good comparison. It's not Lamar Jackson. It's not flat out scrambling speed. It's the shifting in the pocket, and just moving around in that little box to get a better throwing angle to avoid a sack coming in. And when that's limited, then you're really going to be opening yourself up to being, sacked hard. That'll happen at some point, right? So that's what you're sort of holding your breath for. But it's it's a good comparison to Cousins. They both had a torn Achilles, and they're getting older and they don't move as well. So that's but listen, the ball came out well, right? He threw the ball. There was a couple throws that were typical Aaron Rodgers throws, like perfect positioning, hit him in stride, kind of a thing. And, so if you're the Jets fan, like that was reassuring. The defense not looking good is concerning, but Rodgers, the throwing looked as advertised, which is you haven't seen before in a Jets uniform. So that's, as a fan, that's exciting.
You know what? Ken O'Brien was the last time, maybe. But yeah, yeah, it's a while ago. But Roger, that on that one scoring drive, the back shoulder throw, it's as good as it gets. I mean, and that guy was blanket covered, and he hit him right in the hands. It was, I haven't seen a Jet player do that in 20, 25 years, something like that. Okay, so here's one for you. There was a textbook hip drop tackle on Jennings that was not called. Did you see it? Absolutely.
No, I missed that. Tell me about it.
Textbook
Wow.
hip drop tackle.
Okay.
Defender went weightless, swung around, landed ass right on his foot, and Jennings limped off the field with a sore ankle. And they didn't call it. And I was like, wait a minute, that's the definition of the hip drop? Because he even landed right on his ankle. Like, it's exactly
his legs, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's the exact mechanism. And now I was at a sports bar watching that one, so I couldn't quite hear what the broadcaster said about it. But I was like, that's it. How come there's no flag? Like, that is, you couldn't have drawn it up any better. And it's not like it was in a crowd where you couldn't see him. He was isolated on an out pattern. It was just the two of them, like, for every ref on the field to see. And, you know, I don't know if the defender even understood that that's exactly what he was doing, but it fit the description, like, to a T. And he landed right on his foot, and he limped off the field. And I'm thinking, where's the flag? Isn't this the thing? So I'm starting to wonder if, even though the rule's in place, they're just not going to bother really calling it. Because if that ain't it, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think we're going to, hopefully they just missed it. And hopefully they still make that a priority to call that, because that's going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then on the note about Jordan Mason and how good he looked running in McCaffrey's absence, I don't know if that's a statement of how good the Niners run scheme is, or how good Mason is, or just that, man, the Jets defense is way, way overrated, because they had nothing. They couldn't stop it at all. They had put up almost no resistance to that run game.
Yeah, I'm always surprised that and we talked about this at the other show, how end arounds don't usually work in the NFL because of the overall team speed. But that was a solid part of the game plan Monday night, and it worked, so that was surprising to see that. I think Mason looked really good. I mean, I think it was blocked well. And I think there's some concern with the Jets defense, but he looked like he was a legit running back, and it's really impressive that he was, where they found him was undrafted, and so that good on them for identifying the talent and having that as one of the options, because that really changes things going forward. Like, if McCaffrey doesn't have to play this weekend, that is no problem, right? It's I'm sure they'd like him to, but I mean, that to me, that's one of the better defenses they're going to face in the next few weeks. So supposedly.
Well, think about this. You have the last pick in the draft at quarterback, and an undrafted free agent at running back, who completely just blasted the other team.
Yeah, those are some cheap assets that are, generating significant yardage for you in offense. So that's pretty good. And the only other note I had about the game was, go ahead. Go ahead. The only other point I had about the game is that I'm still impressed when an announcer can keep a straight face when they say Sauce Gardner. I think it's a great name for a DB, but it's awesome that they can say it like it's a regular name.
Right? No. That I actually mentioned that to somebody. I'm like, you better be a good player if your name's Sauce.